that's an end of the day. I hope you guys can hear me all right. The river's ripping right there. Somebody's over at the other spot on the river that I normally go to. And the eagles are going apeshit out there. There's a lot of salmon in the river. It's almost warm enough that I think I'm going to dive in there if I get a chance. And I want to put GoPros on the bottom of the river and leave them. I think it'd be great footage. What else? The ladies, superheroes. Hopefully they'll come over tomorrow. I'm going to get hold of them as soon as I get home after this and see if they can't make it out to my place tomorrow. Have a great afternoon. I think they want their anonymity. They want to remain anonymous only because of how they are, what they are doing with unrelated topics. And believe me, it wasn't hard to find these ladies. Superheroes, absolute superheroes, as far as I'm concerned. Superheroes on the planet today. So, of course, I'll grant that respect easily. But I'll still be able to get a video off and learn a lot. I'm anticipating learning a lot. Oh, what else? At the end of the day, I'm absolutely beat. Hot out. I started hand digging and laying down 124 fence posts today and did a bunch of other shit. And Sarah took the clippers to my head and ripped my head down to nothing. So here we go. End of the day, and I'm going to get some of these up before I go. I'm out of here day after tomorrow, so listen to this. Please keep my name confidential. My name is blank. I've worked in law enforcement for almost 30 years. I worked at bail enforcement. Main focus was mainly on Hells Angels bikers who lived in my area. Prior to, I was a personal protection specialist at blank, 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 I'll leave that out, and close quarter combat instructor. My father was a government official, a Marine who was forced recon on Cuba during the Soviet-Cuban Missile Crisis and later Vietnam. My dearest mentor and uncle, an elder of the native clan near the Sierras, also a Vietnam-era Marine sniper and intelligence officer in the United States Marine Corps, retired patrolman before his recent passing. Mr. Carpenter referenced the email sent by Mr. Isdall on the person with the farm problem. There is a line, you may stay there and we will stay here. I'm related to a band of natives in the Yosemite area of the Sierra Nevada. Also, I am related to the Zil, Ligai, Si, and Nindi, Coyotero Band, White Mountain Apache, where the monster elk are. And also to the Ohlone Costanoan Band of the Sierra Foothills, just outside Sioux Mete, Yosemite. There are several tribes here where giant hairy man lurks between Yosemite and giant sequoias from the Tule River Band, Yokuts, Miwok, Paiute, and Maidu. Number 1, Stetea, the hairy giant, has an insatiable hunger. So your advice is good to not get them dependent on you for food. If they do get hungry to a point, according to my family, they can and will eat people, especially children, but usually only when hunger is overwhelming. Number 3, we went to war against the Stetea way back after they had raided a camp and stole children. We killed them and they killed lots of the people. But an agreement was met. They agreed to stay in a Pacific area and the tribes in their designated areas. But during the mission era in California, these agreements and maybe some later have been violated. Sound familiar? Number 4, if you go to war against the Stetea, it must be all out and be prepared to lose people because you will. This is no small thing, as I come from a family of sniper and reconnaissance Marines. Number 5, an agreement made must be kept. If you do not, they will find it as an affront and they will come for you. I believe when the Europeans arrived, an agreement we made after the Tule Lake Miwok Ohlone Indian War with the Stetea was broken by the whites unknowingly. And this is why you're seeing lots and lots of activity, especially since the government has done some underhanded incidents against the Stetea. They do not differentiate whites or natives, only men and Stetea. And If one violates the agreement, they all violate the agreement. There's only one unifying thought to situations, whether in California, Sierra Nevadas, or Mogollon Rim and San Francisco Mountains, Arizona to Jemez in New Mexico. These beings are both spirit and solid and do not go to war unless you're willing to go to all-out war. Realize there were treaties before Europeans arrived, and these treaties may have been broken, and invasion into the designated Sabe and Stetia areas by unknowing Europeans, creating a problem for all. As for me, I've never actually experienced a Stetia sighting, but that does not mean I believe they are not there. I do believe if you have a close relationship with God, they are warned to stay away from you, and this be dissuaded away with the Word of God. God bless, take care, Yate and Honda. Always walk the corn pollen path. There we go, there's another one. And it's funny, the native lady who contacted me, we contact each other, who's going to come and see me, my new superhero on this planet. She also mentioned vaguely that there was an agreement between the First Nations people and these Bush people back in the day. And she's going to fill me in on that more tomorrow. So there's a common theme that I've heard, that there has been agreements made with these people in the past. Interesting, right? Very interesting. All right. Thank you again for sending that in, man. And please do not hesitate to send more, all right? Because I want to hear it. I want to learn it. All right, what's this one? Here's another one. Prying eyes. It was watching me. Dear Stephen, I hope this finds you well and that you are enjoying yourself on your current adventures. Before I start, I'd like to thank you for everything that you do, as well as the members of the community who have come forward to share their experiences. I know this is our community, and that you do this purely for the people who share their voices, but without your hard work and passion for what you do, we may not have such an avenue to turn down. God bless you and everyone else who've used your videos and has been brave enough to share. I'm thankful that I'm now one of those people. Thank you for kind words. Thank you, thank you. This story took place when I was 15 years old. In the summers, my uncle would take me over the border from my home at Tomahawk, Wisconsin, and into the forests of lakes of Ontario and sometimes Manitoba. I've been going on these week-long vacations with him since the age of 5. We didn't hunt, though I wish we had, but we camped under the stars for the majority of our stays. However, we were fortunate enough to have a small chalet to retire to. Those were the best days of my life, and I miss them dearly. I'll not specify the exact location where this experience took place, as like you, I do not believe that these people should be sought out or sought after. If they choose to show themselves to you, then fine. If you do stumble across one, then leave them be and respect their personal space. For a rough guide, I will go as far as to say that this event took place in the southeastern Ontario in the summer 2014. My uncle and I parked our car on a Saturday around midday. It was a beautiful June summer's day, with the water of the lakes glistening with the beaming sunlight. It was the perfect day. We hiked what must have been 7 or 8 miles to our spot, which was nestled near some trees in a creek. We had a tent each, everything we needed for a few days of camping. The first 2 days were uneventful. We saw a few things moving around in the forest on our walks, startling bucks, etc., but nothing out of the ordinary. On the morning of the 3rd day, I decided to take a walk up along the creek before chucking a right, walking up an incline before the forest evened out. Whilst I was secluded and alone, a good couple of kilometers away from my camp, I never once felt in danger or as if I was being watched, which seems to be a common factor of many of the stories we hear. I put my lack of worry or anxiety back then down to the fact that prior to my event, I never believed in them and was, shamefully, one of the many ignorant people who had dismissed their entire existence. Perhaps this is karma. To cut the story shorter, I decided that it would, for some reason, be a good idea to try and climb a tree to get some pictures, as there was a small breach in the tree line where I'd be able to take a picture of the creek below. I didn't have my actual photography camera with me as it had broken, so I used my phone. which allowed me to climb up a relatively small tree. Halfway into my ascent, roughly 10 feet off the ground, I slipped and fell out of the tree, landing flat on my back. Well, that sucks. I have no idea how I didn't break a bone, but sadly that didn't shunt the pain. All the wind and a bit of my soul was blown out of me. The intense winding that I endured, as well as the pain of the fall and a bang to the head, caused me to pass out on my back. I wasn't sure how long I'd been laying there once it came to, but it was still daylight outside and the sun was still at a decent height in the sky. I figured it may have been anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half, but I couldn't be sure. What struck me was strange, once I came to my senses, was that I awoke on my side, though to my knowledge I had passed out on my back. I sat up slowly, tried to take in my surroundings when it hit me. The most disgusting scent I've ever experienced, and it was a mix of wet dog and, to be crude, fecal matter and vomit. The heat didn't help the smell either. I thought that it may have been a rotting carcass of some sort of woodland animal, but my theory was thwarted when I saw it. In the shrub, roughly 15 feet away from me, was a tanned face that had orange eyes which sat in concave eye sockets. I couldn't make out much fur, but it contrasted greatly from its skin color. It was shrouded by the plaintiff, that I would be willing to assume that it was brown in color. This face was around 5 foot above the ground. My first instinct wasn't to think Bigfoot or anything of that nature, but whatever it was either 5 feet tall or crouching. I have no idea how long it had been there, but it was watching me. It didn't once move. In fact, it barely blinked. But it sat in silence, peering out of the bushes at me as I stirred out of unconsciousness. I'd be a liar to say that I wasn't scared. I was confused and felt troubled, but never once did I feel in danger. What happened next shook me to my core, and I can confidently say, fucked me up. The plaintiff behind this creature rustled slightly, and to my sheer horror, emerged another one of these creatures. He was easily 10 feet tall, covered in auburn hair, matted around the shoulders, which were wider than my arms would be if they were extended outwards, measuring from fingertip to fingertip. It shared a similar facial structure to the other, but its skin was more of a brown color. It stopped beside what I now assumed was its offspring. The little one continued to stare at me intently, whilst the larger, I'm assuming its mother, simply brushed its shoulder with a soft hand to grab its attention. The larger one never looked at me. The two creatures turned their backs and simply walked into the woods. I assumed that the mother was simply telling the younger one to leave me alone and give me space, though it does make me wonder. Did they find me laying there unconscious? Did they put me on my side so I didn't choke on my tongue or have a fit? Whatever their intentions were, I did not feel that they were bad. Fast forward, and I'm 23 years old now. I have since moved from Tomahawk and now reside in New Jersey. However, while moving away from the borderlands has somewhat helped, I have not since ventured back into the forest alone. I tried once with my dog and quickly felt sick. Sadly, the distance from the scene of the experience has not helped me get over it. I not long ago started receiving counseling, as my fear of the forest is deeply intense. However, I've not been able to be totally honest with my counselor, as I fear they would think I'm crazy. I told him that I had run in with a bear and that I haven't been able to get over the fear. I know this is long, but thank you so much if you read this and shared it with the people. You have all given me the strength to share my experiences. All the best, Rachel. Okay, I find myself, I'm trying to read out loud to try to get my voice clear over top of that river that's right there. And I have a funny feeling I may have read this, and if I haven't, I read something absolutely similar. And if it is one I read, I did urge the person who sent it in to send this video to their counselor and then book another session after you send it to them. Probably going to help. And if you do this, send this to your counselor, I will directly give this message to the counselor right now, just so you know There are literally hundreds of thousands of experiences around the globe that are similar to what was just shared with us. The description, the whole 9 yards. There's DNA samples been submitted, found. There's been, I know a person who is responsible for over 110 DNA samples being submitted, found. And I also now recently know of some scientists who claim to have over 3,000 DNA samples. So these beings are very real. I've seen them myself. And if you have someone who are you going to counsel, make sure you do treat them with respect, because what they have seen is very real. And that's what I'll share to any counselor that sees this video. All right? Now, that's a hell of an experience. Hell of an experience. And just so you know, the First Nations superhero lady, who I will be talking to shortly, she said to me flat out that they were never taught that these beings were evil or dangerous or ferocious in any way, ever. And they've known of these beings, quote, all my life is what she said, and she's seen them numerous times, as well as every single person in her community. And remember what I just said, what she said to me was, they were never taught to think that these beings were evil or ferocious in any way, ever. But I think she has more to share about what is out in the forest that may not be so good for us, as well as these beings. I'll find that out tomorrow. More about it. But anyway, I'm getting gobbled up by mosquitoes. I wonder if I should try to go somewhere else. Maybe I'll try another one. Let's see what else I got here. Just so you guys know as well, one of the superhero ladies that got a hold of me claims to have a photo of what she thinks was a kill made by one of these bush people right up on the top of the hill, right behind me. So that'll be interesting to see, right? Let's see if she shares it with everybody. Now, listen to this. You wondered if you were ready for Mind Speak. Steve, please keep my name confidential for now. Regarding you wondering if you're ready for Mind Speak on your June 15th video, my experience is that when it happens, it's so natural, there's nothing frightening, alarming, surprising, or disturbing about it. For me, it wasn't at all like you described when your earbuds suddenly came on when you were cleaning up fallen trees. I live in South Carolina. I was hearing an owl in the woods behind my house doing 3 even calls. Who? I answered the same way, and then it would answer me back. We did this for a while, back and forth. About 2 days later, I drove into my backyard about 8 p.m. about the month of October 2020. I felt I needed to look at the woods surrounding my yard. I was compelled. Not mind speak, but a feeling to do so. Maybe this is mind speak. I do remember thinking, check the woods. I took a flashlight out of my car and started on the south side, then the east side, then the north side. These woods are about 100 to 150 feet from my location. When the light hits the north side, I simultaneously hear and see a huge owl about 9 to 10 feet up on a bush, not a tree. A big tall bush. In my head, I heard, it's an owl, it's an owl, it's an owl. Exactly 3 times. It appeared to be walking left, then right, then left, then right. Mentally, this owl, moving left and right, made sense, although this 9-foot-high bush could not support the weight of a creature as big as appeared to be standing on it. I simply walked inside my house and thought no more of it until about 3 days later when I saw a copy of David Paulides' book, The Hooper Project, on my bookshelf, and realized that the head on the Sasquatch on the cover of Dave's book was my owl. Then, in a sort of explosion of realization, the spell was broken and the things came together. I was seeing the head of a huge Sasquatch in that bush, sort of light golden brown in color. The left to right motion was him swaying back and forth, and he was freaking huge. He had me under some kind of a spell or control. Not a bad thing at all, actually very kind of embarrassing, so to be so controlled though. I like to think that I could have handled seeing him all at once, but the truth is, he was so huge. I might have had a very difficult time dealing with the reality of his hugeness. Estimate 9, maybe 10 feet tall, 4 to 5 foot shoulders, older male, smart, and completely controlling the encounter. I've heard those 3 in a row owl hoos twice since then and have chosen not to respond. Oh, I'm getting bugs all over me. I sent the intention out that him and his family could stay in the woods, that I would protect them any way I could, and for them to just not scare me or my family. A trail that is exactly at the northeast corner of my property had a tree mysteriously and perfectly uprooted and jammed in the trail opening, blocking the trail. I felt an electrical feeling all over my body when I walked by that area. Either think or speak, I will do the best I can to protect you, just don't scare me. I feel like this is amusing to them because they are so freaking huge. Me protecting him is kind of ridiculous, but I also feel an accepting, kind, even loving feeling of appreciation for the offer. I am picking up that they have been in these woods off and on for a long time and doing very well in spite of human encroachment. I'm very lucky to share the area with this group and not some rowdy or mean ones. The bush is hollowed out where the big guy stood. It resembles the look of a lightning strike would leave in a bush or a tree, or, even more accurate, the look a spinning electrical vortex would leave behind. It remained that way for about a year, and the hollowing out can still be seen, although it is now less pronounced. Again, please don't share my name, Steve. P.S. Thanks for being such a freaking solid, good, truthful, ethical, John-up guy and providing the gift and service of breaking through the evil, selfish cover-up by creating a place for the truth to be told and disseminated. Alright, man, thanks for the kind words, and I got your back. I won't share your name. And this place is actually created by you and everybody like you, right? And myself, but the place is being created by everybody. And it's kind of funny how it has been created. It wasn't the intention, but it just sort of happened and we're going with it, right? But anyway. I'm done like dinner. I gotta get my ass out of here. I'm getting gobbled up by these damn mosquitoes. I'm covered in dirt and sweat, grime. It's been one of those sweaty damn days, I'll tell you what. And then tomorrow, well, I'm gonna get home, contact the superhero ladies, and make sure they can come over tomorrow, hopefully, because tomorrow night or first thing in the morning I gotta head to the coast, and then I've got 4 or 5 days on the boat that I have to do. Oh, and I get to meet up with those wildlife biologists too. That's included in those days. And then after that we might have another fella joining me on video to discuss a bunch of stuff with you that he's seen firsthand over the handful of years here in British Columbia. What he experienced, what it looked like, what he learned, what he saw, what he felt, the whole 9 yards. And then we keep the ball rolling. I got a whole trailer load of lumber today to keep continuing trying to finish the man cave so we can turn it into what we all want it to be. It's a great place to talk to people and learn and share knowledge. And then we keep the ball rolling. So, hopefully after tomorrow I have time to get our conversation I'm going to have with our superhero ladies, our superhero First Nation ladies. Hopefully I have time to get them the video they will create with me online to share with all you before I go. And more. And I won't stop, and there's more coming. Talk to you shortly.